Audio rolling, and you're on here.
Sound speed?
And action, right? Slate, action.
Yeah, man.
All right, you ready?
Ready as I'll ever be, man.
Alrighty, guys. Welcome back to another episode with Noah and I, where we're really just gonna sit down again, talk some music, talk some topics, and kind of reflect on some of our own personal experience within music, the good, the bad, the ugly, all those wonderful things that we like to
All
experience.
between.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, literally everything. And hopefully, share some wisdom or share some gems or some pieces of advice that you guys can kind of take away from it and hopefully apply it to your own musical journey or your own life and so on and so forth. So today I didn't really want to, I want to kind of break this episode down to maybe a few different topics, more so dealing with the general theme of artist-producer relationship, artist-engineer relationship, and we might be able to segue into just a few different topics that way and kind of see what we're dealing with. So the first thing I want to talk about right out the gate is paying your producer or your engineer for the work that's done. And just to reflect on a little personal story here, because Noah and I have definitely both been through situations where we have started a project and at some point the recipient, whether it be the artist or the client, didn't like it, was not satisfied, didn't feel like it was achieving whatever they wanted to achieve with the project, right? And they decide, hey, well, I'm not going to pay you because I'm not happy. And in my opinion, I think that's completely unfair, because at the end of the day, if you're going to put all this time, energy, and effort into creating a song or any kind of creative work for a client, and you're going to take time out of your day to actually sit down and, mind you, not only just sit down and do it, but then communicate with them, make all the changes, do all the revisions, just for them at the end of it to say, yeah, I don't like it, I'm not going to pay you for that. That's not the way it works.
Yeah.
The work is done. When the work is complete, that's when you get paid for the project, whether you like it or not. Because here's the thing. At this level in the game, it's not like the engineer or the producer is someone who's just starting out and is just a beginner and is still learning the ropes. And yes, of course, are we still going to continue to grow over the next few years? For sure. But we are at a certain level and threshold right now where we're putting out great work that sounds incredible and that we can actually charge for. And so if you don't like it, that's a you problem. You know what I mean? It's not like the project sounds bad or it's off or it's incorrect by any means. It's just a personal taste. And if the client doesn't like it, that's their problem. It's like we put our own effort and creativity to it. And if you don't like it, well, I mean, that's cool, but we still have to get paid the remainder of the money for all the work that we put into the project and all the effort, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of, and the analogy I used was, it's like if you were getting your house painted, right? Let's just say you paid your deposit up front, people came to paint your house, and, they painted a certain color, right? They finished all the walls in the house, and at the very end, once they were done, that's like you going to them and being like, I didn't end up liking the paint after all, so I'm just not going to pay you the other half. It's like, that's not the way it works. It's like you picked that paint, you picked to get the job done, and now that they're done, just because you realize that you messed up or that it wasn't your cup of tea, you can't just back out of that project and say, oh, it's not done, so I'm not going to pay you. It's like, bro, the song's basically done, or the project is literally right 98% done, 99% done of completion. Yeah. And because you're not liking the way it's turning out, you can't just not pay your people. So that's my little rant of the day. I'm sure Noah will chime in here in a second here, but that's my own little piece. And so, guys, if you're going to choose to work with somebody, at least do your due diligence and, one, check out the work that they have, their portfolio, and all the creative work they put out. Two, consult with them on kind of the type of work they do, what their vision is, what they kind of see for the project, because any music creative you talk to is going to have their own way of doing things and their own way of seeing how to do certain things. So do your due diligence, do your homework, and kind of get to know who you're working with before you just take on the project, because once you invest into the project, you better be fully committed to it. And if it doesn't turn out the way you want at the end of the day, you have to first realize that, hey, the work is still good. It's just not your cup of tea because they just do things a certain way. So anyways, y'all, the moral story is pay your people, because at the end of the day, that's how you do good business. That's how you maintain good relationships. And it doesn't mean that you're not going to work again, because here's the thing. Maybe that project didn't work out, but you might be able to kind of iron out the kinks for the next one and work together to kind of work towards a goal that satisfies what you're trying to achieve with that project, and maybe it'll end up working out. And maybe if you still don't like the producer engineer, that's cool. pay them their other half, be respectful, do good business, so you leave things on good terms, because you never know where you guys might cross paths down the line, and then move on. And at least now you know you have good karma because you actually paid them the remainder half for the hard work they put into the project. So, anyways, guys, pay your people. Noah, take over, man. Give me your thoughts, opinions.
Yeah, man. No, 100%. I think as young producers and young artists and engineers, I think it's very hard for us to. It's not about the money. It's not. It never will be, because we love what we do. But it is hard to, do a no refund policy 100% of the time. Because there is a point where we know our work is quality. We know that we're doing the best that we can, and we really enjoy what we do. So we're going to put our heart into everything we do. And so when a client, an artist, whoever it is, another producer, doesn't like our work, there's a difference between, in my opinion, there's a difference between a revision and what some people would consider a revision. I'll give you an example. I guess we're gonna go ahead and dive into some stories. You ready? All right. There's a client I was working with recently. I'm not gonna say that person's name. You know what? I won't even say what I did. I'll just say I was working with a client recently on a project. May or may not have been music related, may or may not have been other things as well, but I'll just say this. I met the client off of a freelancing website, and which is where I get quite a few of my gigs, honestly. They're really, really good sites out there. And this one site, I haven't had too much luck on, but I met this one guy, and he hired me off the site. And once we started exchanging contact info, we hopped on a call, and he was like, okay, here's the budget for this project, right? Pretty decent budget. And then once we started, he looked at my portfolio, and he was like, well, I like it, but I'm not quite sure this is what I'm looking for, and so I gave him some tips and pointers on some things that I personally would like to, some different things I wanted to bring into the project, I guess you could say. And then he started really liking it. He was like, okay, well, I'm still not sure about it, but I want you on the project, so, how about this? And so he offered me a new budget, basically cut it in half, man. And I should have left, but I was really passionate about the project, so I stayed. You know how it is. And we started getting to work on it, meaning me. And after a few days, I sent him my first render of the project, which he did not like. He tried to compliment me, tried to say some things, but basically in his own words, he wanted me to start from scratch. And so this is something that some clients don't understand. And so that's something that from now on, I will be explaining this to all my clients, to everybody that I work with, artists, producers, filmmakers. What's the word I'm looking for? We can edit this out. Not a rendition. What's it called? Revision. A revision is not starting over from scratch, right? Everybody knows that. So a revision is editing what you already have, is redoing something that you already did, tweaking it, adjusting, right? This guy had me do everything over from scratch multiple times. So there got to be a point where I ended up sending him an email, and I was like, okay, man, like, I've redone this so many times now. You have now had me do your project like 3 or 4 times in a row. And I'm only getting paid to do it once. So it's not about the money, but in this case, I had to make it about the money because it was costing me time with my other clients. I had other things I was trying to do and other gigs I was trying to take that I couldn't because I had to redo this so many times. And he tried like getting his deposit back because, with my clients, I usually ask for a certain percentage up front just so I can have an investment if I need to purchase any assets or tools or anything. And so, yeah, he wanted that back immediately afterwards. And so we ended up settling the differences. No, I did not pay him anything back. Would not do that. Yeah, it was a terrible experience, but I learned a lot. And I think my biggest lesson was it's okay to make it about the money sometimes. My job will never be about that, but it's okay to prioritize what's being spent because I already know the value's there. The value will always be there. But you got to cover your back sometimes. If you're working with someone that you're not familiar with, I would say to other producers, composers, artists, if you're working with someone that you don't know that well, if it's a new client, and you're offering them a product, right? If you're selling them on something, definitely know your stuff when it comes to revisions, when it comes to contracts, when it comes to exactly, be aware of exactly what it is that they're paying you to do. Ask questions, be clear, communicate. Because all those things, you know, if there's things that are left unsaid at the end, there's going to be things that were never mentioned, and you're like, oh, well, how did that get in there? Oh, I didn't know that. Or so it's always good to be clear and concise up front. So I think that's probably the biggest lesson I learned from that gig. But yeah, man, it was a nightmare.
Yeah, you definitely have to be on the same page about what you guys are doing for the project, so then you guys have a clear expectation of what you're looking to do. And I just want to touch on one thing you said real quick, because this is super important. Guys, making revisions to an existing project you're working on is no way, shape, or form the same as adding new elements after the fact. So when we say revisions are included, so for me, as most people like to know, I do unlimited revisions because I'm a big proponent on actually working together on the song until it's right.
Right.
So that's why I don't mind going back and forth with that. And anyone who's worked with me, they know this. But here's the thing, though, is that revisions is everything that's already within the project. That's what's included within the prices. Everything that's in here, right?
Outside things.
If you wanna, if you say, "Oh, I'm gonna redo the vocals," I'm gonna send you new vocals, or I'm gonna send you backgrounds, or I'm gonna send you some ad libs, unless you guys specify that up front, that is not included as a revision. Now you're adding more stuff, which is more work, and you have to like redo the whole processing in it, and that's gonna cost extra. So unless you specifically talked about that with your producer or engineer, don't expect that adding new external material after the fact is considered a revision, because it's not. A revision is just that it's revising what is already on paper or already in the session or in the song. So be wary of that too. So like some people just like to think that's part of it, and they start asking for too much, just like this guy, and makes you start from scratch. And that's like, you're starting from scratch is basically doing a whole nother project again. At that point, you might as well pay me double. You know what I mean? Like, but people don't understand that. People are cheap. They want to cut corners. They want to try and squeeze the most out of you. And don't get me wrong, we are telling you guys these stories because we've been through it. We don't want you guys to go through it. And so we're kind of sharing our own personal experiences because it happens, right? But I don't want to make it seem like every single person is like that, because they're not. And 98% of all the people I work with are all incredible people. Like, I am beyond grateful to have met all the people I currently work with, because they're all kind human beings with a good heart, super creative, have the passion for music, are willing to pay on time. Like, they understand enough of the business of it to respect one another. So 98% of the people I work with are cool. We are just telling you guys this story because you have to look out for these things in general, and just kind of always cover your ass when it comes to the business side of things as well, right? Because you are going to run into people that are like this, and it just is what it is. But for the most part, just be a good human being. That's all it takes. Just be a good person, do good work, treat the people on your team with respect. If they do the work, pay them, and just kind of go on from there. You know what I mean? And then just set kind of clear expectations on, you know, what's being done, right? So yeah, no, absolutely. So I think that kind of pretty much wraps up that side of things. And like Noah was saying, guys, like, it's not about the money. The money is allowing us to do what we do because we have the skill to do it. Because I mean, hey, if we at the end of the day, if we weren't making this a living, we'd still be making music. I mean, we're doing it because we have a passion for it. We're doing it because we love it, and we're working towards being able to do this full time. That's why we charge what we charge. Just like with any business, why do you pay freaking Nike for their clothes? Because you like what the brand stands for. You like the quality of the clothes, and you buy it so you can align yourself with that brand. The same thing with us, you know? People want to spend money. You make money to spend money. You make money to invest your money. You make money. I mean, that's how our economy works. We live in a capitalistic society, right? And so if you like the people you work with, pay them. You know what I mean? Like, and pay them extra if you want, right? Work with them. Build that relationship so then you guys can take off together in this industry. And so, yeah, just to
There's also a point.
Yeah. Please go ahead.
Yeah, there's also something I was going to say too. Is I'm not quite sure if I'm going to word this right, but there's basically when you sell someone a product, right? If you've already made the product before you sell it, so like for instance, if you sell someone a shoe and they don't like the shoe, they should be able to return that shoe as long as it's not damaged, correct? As long as you can resell that shoe, right? That whatever that product is. But if we're like, for instance, if you're selling beats, samples, stuff like that, you've already made it. It's already getting out there. It's not exclusive. So if you were to sell someone that and they didn't like it, they should be able to get a refund, right? For some products, not all, for some products. But then there's the other kind of products where it's a custom made product, a custom tailor made to where you're making it while you're working with them in real time. That cannot be refunded because you are making it in real time. So if they don't like it, that doesn't mean that I'm not willing to tweak it. Of course, that's the whole part of the process. We work together on this, right? If I've already made something for you, you don't like it, cool. It's going to go to other people as well because it's not always for everybody. But if we're making something together, if we're both inputting creatively, we're both throwing things in there and building something, and you don't like it, let's try to tweak it as we go, not start over and recreate something else. That's a whole other project, and we need to get paid for the whole other project, right? And so it blows me away how much time that people think we have, because it's like they don't have the time either, you would think, but man, at least right now in our lives, we don't have all the time in the world to do what we love to do, but we will soon. And I'm sure at that point, at least me personally, I would be willing to, definitely blur the lines a little bit. Like if someone's not liking something and I need to work with them on something and maybe they do want to start from scratch, I'm sure at that point I might be a little more willing to, because I had the time and the resources to do so. And there are charity cases, there are cases where you're like, okay, I really like this person, I really like this project, and I'm willing to give a little more time and resources than I normally would because I see a lot more potential, right? We see projects like that all the time. You and I just had one recently, and it was an amazing project. Hopefully we'll get to share that soon. But then there's just the normal projects where it's kind of just like, it's really based on the time you have. And so, yeah, hopefully one day we'll have all the time in the world to work on stuff. But right now, it's a really strict schedule. The budget's tight. The schedule's tight. The resources are tight. And so we have to be understanding with one another. Composers, artists, producers, engineers, everybody has to, when they're working together, they have to understand the backgrounds they're coming from and just kind of be on the same page, like you were saying. If you're not on the same page, then it's just not gonna work. So hopefully you guys can learn something from this. Hopefully the next project you work on will run a little smoother than the last one I worked on. I know, Ben, you said you had some crazy stuff too happen lately. So yeah, man.
Yeah, it was really just that one story.
Yeah, man.
I mean, I've had only a couple instances like that where, so I think it's only been 2 instances where, 2 out of so many other instances that someone hasn't paid me. So like I said, it's only that 1% of the time where it actually happens. So yeah, it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. But no, everything you said was absolutely facts, especially with the whole creating a custom thing. It's true. You just, when you're creating something custom and you're working on it step by step with them, it's just, you can't just refund that. You know what I mean? Like, and be like, okay, no, I don't want to take it back. It's like, bro, this is custom to you. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm mass producing this, Mass produced things are different. And what's different too about a lot of big companies is that when you return stuff to a lot of these big companies, a lot of times they don't even put it back out. If you take Amazon and take a few other places, they end up in like basically off-market stuff. I know you can buy like big like crates and pallets filled with return stuff that they just resell. Yeah. And so they do that all the time where they don't even resell. They just sell it off to another company to then it's like third party, and we can't do that. Small businesses can't do that. So yeah, anyways, that's that. I had another thing I want to talk about. Oh yeah, so this is one thing that you and I brought up the other day about when it comes to working remotely and people sending over stuff, and kind of something we ran into where, obviously in this day and age with social media, you're able to connect with people all around the world, right? Producers, engineers, artists. I work with people across the states, Alabama, Georgia, across Florida, Toronto, back in Canada. I work with people across, right? And in order to do stuff remotely, you need to be able to send your files off to your producer or engineer, right? So this is another super important part, is that when you're sending off your stuff, you have to make sure, one, everything is sounding great, so nothing's peaking, everything sounds clean, everything is timed properly, tempo-wise, and that the project is actually a complete project. Because if you're sending bits and pieces to your producer or engineer, and it's kind of all over the place, and nothing is cohesive, and and synced up with one another, it's gonna be all messed up, and it's gonna make the project significantly harder.
Yeah.
And so just take the extra step to make sure that, all your T's are crossed, all your I's are dotted, and that every single piece of the puzzle is in place to make sure that you make your engineer's life a lot easier, so that when they get all the files, all the stems, the vocals, that everything is aligned, everything's in time, everything's clean, and that you won't have to re-record something, right? And if you're not sure if your stuff is good, that's okay. Reach out to that engineer you're going to work with and have them run you through the process of checking your stuff to make sure it's good. Because, hey, we all have to learn somehow, right? I'm totally empathetic towards that. I mean, if anyone knows me, they know I will be more than happy to help anybody with anything music related, session related, and to make sure that, once we do it once you learn it once, you'll never have to learn it again because you'll already know it. And so if I teach you how to do this, then you'll know, and then you can keep it at the back of your mind and check these things. So it's like, okay, cool. When I'm recording, make sure it's not peaking, make sure my tracks are good, make sure, okay, I'm singing on time, singing within the tempo of the song, boom, everything's perfect. And that way, y'all, once you learn that, your engineer and producer is going to thank you and love you because the song's going to sound great. It's going to sound, everything's from a technical perspective, everything's going to be perfect. As opposed to being all over the place. Because like I said, when things are all over the place, it just makes everybody's life so much harder. It takes up so much more time and energy and money. And it takes away from just being creative and working together on trying to do what's best for the track. Because as opposed to doing what's best for the track now and being creative, you're stuck worrying about all the little technical details of it, like having to redo the vocals or redo the stems or bounce it out properly or take off whatever it may be, right? So that's another super important thing. Take the extra time to make sure that what you're sending off is in tip-top condition from a technical perspective, and that you're going to be good, and that you'll just repeat that process. And if you don't know how to do that, talk to someone trusted, and they'll be able to help you out with that.
Yeah, and also communicate. I think I was mentioning that earlier too. Guys, gotta communicate. It's so important to stay in touch throughout the whole process. That doesn't mean, like in this last case I had with a client, dude was hitting me up every day, and we had already set a timeline. Like there is over communication. There is, there is that is a thing, but at least stay in touch like every few days, a couple times a week, once a week, something, and I know you and I both, we're really good about reaching out to our clients, just making sure that we're on the same page, making sure they're still, the expectancy hasn't gone up or down. There's still the same parameters and everything. Project hasn't changed. We're always making sure, because that's our time as well that we would be spending if we didn't check into those things. But artists, make sure that you know what you want before you start a project. Make sure that you are communicating, and make sure that you have at least a little bit of organization. It's our job to make sure when we start the project that things are organized and it runs smoothly. And Ben, you and I both have templates and stuff set up so that when we start, everything's smooth, streamlined. We don't got the time to, create a new thing every time. And so it's really important that artists, that you guys, and filmmakers, and, other people that I work with, sometimes I will start a project with someone and they just kind of like, they're still kind of brainstorming before we even started the project. I'm like, dude, when you come into a project, you at least got to know what you want. You at least got to be able to communicate that effectively. And so, just be aware of that. Just be aware of what's needed, what's wanted. That way we can create that for you without trying to figure that out after we've already started,
Yeah, I'm going to piggyback off the... Oh, sorry, I don't want to cut you off.
Oh, no, go ahead.
So to piggyback off this, because this is amazing what you said here about being transparent about what you want. So yes, you need to have a really good general idea of where you want to take this project, so at least we can help bring it to life. Furthermore, you have to be 100% transparent about how you're feeling about the project every step of the way. So like Noah said, and one thing I pride myself on, and that I was talking to Noah about, is about regular updates with the people that we work with, right? Whether it be once a day, once every other day, just something on a normal basis where at least the artist or the recipient, the client, knows where the project is at, whether it be a first draft of the song, a second draft, and kind of let them know where we're at, and just reassuring them that the project is moving along and that's, coming to completion and kind of getting done, right? Because if you kind of leave your artists in the dark or leave your clients in the dark, they don't know what's happening. And so I always pride myself on getting updates, even if you haven't done anything. Like there's been times where I'll tell an artist, I'm like, all right, I'll give you the first draft in a couple days, and then life caught up, and shit happens. And then I tell them, and like I will never be afraid to be open and honest and tell them if I haven't started a project or haven't worked on it, or if I couldn't that day. I did the other day where I reached out to one of my guys and I'm like, bro, just letting you know, I didn't have time to actually start the project today. Most likely I'm going to start tomorrow, and I should have a first draft to you in a couple of days. Being super transparent like that, at least from an engineer artist perspective, will reassure and make sure that everybody stays calm and level-headed throughout the whole process, because then we all know that there's a general direction and we know what's happening. There's no confusion. No one's lost, right?
Right.
So going back to the other point I wanted to make with communicating is that when we're giving you the updates, so when we're sending off our productions or mixes to you as an artist or as a client, you need to be completely open and transparent with how you're feeling about the project, or else we can't make it the best project possible. At the end of the day, we are helping you execute on your vision. You have a vision of how you want everything to be, how you want it to sound. We're going to do our best to bring that to life. And if you are not telling us how it's sounding to you when we send you that first draft, then we can't help you make it like that. Because I know some of y'all might feel bad or feel like you're being a little nitpicky or whatever it may be, right? And I get it, right? You don't want to burden your producer or engineer and make them feel bad or have that conversation, but that's the only way that you will make the project amazing. I mean, because if you're not transparent, we don't know how to help you. If you're gonna lie about it and say, oh, it's good, but but then low key, or you're not feeling confident about it, or it's not where you want it,
just speak up.
Just say something, man. We don't care. Like like say, if you say that you don't like any of the vocals, that's okay. Like I'm not gonna sit here and cry, but I'm not gonna cry. Like I mix things a certain way. If you don't like it, okay, cool. Tell me so that we can start to tweak it and change it and work on it. Like I'm not saying you have to be a dick about it, but just be upfront. Be like, hey, just to let you know, I'm not really feeling the vocals. You think we can try this? And I'll be like, yeah, absolutely, we can try that. And we'll just start tweaking things around, right? Because that's part of the collaborative process. So please do not lie to the people you are working with, because you're just going to have this resentment. You're not going to feel confident in the project. You may not even want to put it out when it's done because you weren't open and honest. This is the one moment where you actually have to be honest with the people that are around you in the creative process, or else the project will not be where you want it and you will never be 100% satisfied with it. So guys, please, if you get your first draft, be open and honest and send them all the revisions and changes.
Right. And some of those things, it's also, I mean, we were just talking about this a second ago. And in my case, the guy was very open and honest, which I appreciated, but he also wanted me to completely redo things, which, to be honest, that situation was a special case. Most people aren't going to be like that. But if there's things that I can't redo, I'm going to be honest with you, right? It's my job to be just as honest with you as I expect you to be honest with me. So if there's something that I can't redo, or if I'm looking at it and it's not even from a preference standpoint, it's from a professional, like, hey, I understand you're an artist, but I'm a producer who does this for a living all the time. So like if I see something that's out of line that you didn't notice, or something that you didn't like and I thought should be in there, or you liked and I thought shouldn't be in there, whatever the case is, it's my job to also be honest with you and just be like, hey, I honestly, you don't like this? Okay, well, I think let's just give it a shot, or let me tweak it a little bit and then see what you think. Or vice versa. If you did like something and I don't think it should be in there, I'm gonna let you know. I'm gonna be like, I don't think that's gonna make you look good, because it's about you as the artist. It's about them. It's about their project. It's not my vision. I have my own projects I'm working on in my own spare time, which isn't much these days. I don't have a lot of spare time, but I mean, I want them to be happy. If they're not happy, I'm not happy. That's the way of the game, man. Like, I love seeing other people happy with their projects. We've talked about this before, that the reaction when they finally see their project and they're happy with it. It's always cringy when they're not happy with it. We don't even want to look at them. We're like, don't make eye contact with me. Just let me know later. But like, when they're happy with it, it truly touches me and makes me happy. And I'm like, okay, we can work with this.
It's fulfilling. Honestly, it's probably one of the most fulfilling parts about working with people. and helping them bring
Yeah.
their projects to life. And guys, like, we can't, like, I want all of us in this process to feel euphoric and optimistic and positive about the songs that we're working on, to have the feeling like, yo, we killed that shit. Like, if you can't confidently say that at the end of a project, like, yo, we killed that, did you really put in your time, effort, and energy to make it as good as it can be? And the only way that can happen is if you're open and transparent about what you want. See, it's a full circle, y'all. Like, just be open. Or maybe, and maybe you don't have any changes. Maybe you truly feel like, yeah, this is some good shit. I like it. And then, hey, that's just
rare case, but it does happen.
That's a big compliment for us. We'll take that, right? But please, guys, even if it's the littlest things, like taking out a breath, changing the vocal here, boom. So then once you're open and honest, and we work our way through the project, and at the end of it, we'll be like, damn. We'll listen back to it together, and it's like, wow. And then you get to be super appreciative and happy. Then that makes us happy that you're happy, because we want to make good music with good people. And you expressing your gratitude and how much you love the project, like I said, it's one of the most rewarding and fulfilling thing about working with just incredible artists, is that moment where you guys get to say, this shit slaps, this shit goes hard, this shit sounds amazing, I can't wait to drop it. Those little comments, it means the world to us, because it's like, that's why we do this, you know? We do it because we love it, and to get that type of feedback is amazing, because we want to showcase it too. We want to promo it, we want to put it out, because it looks good on all of us, right? Because we all just want to do good music. And so
everybody gets a slice, man.
Yeah.
Also, I want to clarify too, you and I both do unlimited revisions, because we want people to not feel like they're going to hurt our feelings. We want them to feel comfortable.
Right.
I think that's also really important. I'll just say that real quick, is being comfortable with your client, or if you are the client, being comfortable with the producer, the engineer, is super important, because if you're not comfortable, you're not going to be honest. And so that's something that I know you do as well, but I pride myself on just showing kindness, sometimes going the extra mile, even if I'm not getting paid for it, just making sure that everything runs smooth, they're happy, they're satisfied with it, and they know what's going on. They're not, left in the dark about anything, because once they're comfortable with you, they'll be honest, and then everything is pretty much just smooth sailing from there.
It's all about building great relationships with people. That's it.
Gotta build that trust.
And once you have that relationship with your artist or producer or engineer, then that's when you guys have that chemistry, and you guys just lock in, and everything is just, you just make incredible music, because you guys are tight, and that just comes with time on just working together and just being kind and working towards a common goal, and it just ends up being amazing. So that's definitely what happens when you have just good relationships with the people around you, and the stuff that you do, right? So yeah, no, absolutely.
We're both blessed. We get to work with some amazing people.
Oh, 100%. It's been it's been a blessing, and that's why I'll always say I'm forever grateful for all the artists I've met since I've been down here. Because for those of you that may or may not know, I came down here last year, and I started from zero. Like, I had nobody. I had no artists. I had just nobody to work with, and I just grinded my way through reaching out to people on Vamper and Bumble Biz, and that's a whole nother video we can get into about reaching out to new clients. But yeah, that's no, it's been amazing. I'm just crossing off my notes here of like all the stuff we covered. A lot of great stuff. So open and honest, boom, covered that. Sending proper projects to your engineer and producer, compensate for people for the work that they do, and then probably one of the last, I'll say one of the last things we can definitely touch up on before we close it out here. And one thing I've noticed this a lot, like low key, is when it comes to, I know this is more applicable for engineers, but it's just respecting their times in terms of showing up for sessions, right? And this is notorious. I mean, a lot. I think every single engineer I know have been through this. One of my other boys, who's an engineer that I learned how to engineer with, this happens to him all the time at his studio, where like an artist will say they want to come through for a session and they don't pull up, and then they don't tell you, or if an artist says they're going to be at a certain time, but then they keep delaying it. And here's what I will say: I get it, guys. I get it. Shit happens. Life happens. Trust me, I understand. Like, what if you gotta like make a last minute trip to do something or go somewhere, or someone calls you, or there's an emergency? I get it, right? Shit happens, right? I don't mind. I get it. I'm empathetic. I understand, but you have to let people know. You have to respect people's time and let them know ahead of time, including people like myself who have a home studio where people come here to record. You gotta tell them, like, yo, if you're gonna be late, tell them you're gonna be late. Like I will never cry over you being late. I don't give a fuck. Like I don't care. You just have to tell me. Like tell me, hey bro, I know we had a session at 1:00. It's 12:00 right now. It's 12:30. I'm probably gonna be there at 1:30. I'm probably gonna be there at 2:00. Cool. Thank you so much. Now I can go live my life for a little bit, prep my session, and then I'll see you then. So just give me regular updates if you're going to be late, and just respect my time. And if you know you can't make it, say you can't make it. Don't ever be afraid to not say something. So just be open and communicative and respect the people's times you work with. You know what I mean? And that's it. So that was kind of my final thing on that, because it's just common courtesy, right? And that's how you build good relationships and kind of just do what you do, right? And that goes
well with that goes with texting too. Like, you know, I'm not going to be checking my phone every hour, and I don't expect anybody else to either. But if you if you send someone whatever it is in the project, like if it's a render or if it's a mix or whatever, and they take 3 days to respond, how am I supposed to know if you've chosen someone else, or if you don't like it, don't know how to say it, if you're nervous, or if you haven't even read it because you forgot or whatever? So please do not bug me every hour, because I don't have the time to bug you every hour either. But just be courteous and, you know, let us know what you think as soon as you can.
Oh my God. You know, I need
at least on a daily basis. I'm fine with the daily basis.
Yo, preach. I need to jump in real quick, because I'm so happy you said that, because this is one big thing I need to talk about real quick. When it comes to changes and revisions, at least get back to us in a timely manner, please. Because if there's one thing y'all
let us know if
there's one thing y'all are notorious for, and listen, I love you guys all. I really do. You guys are all incredible. But if there's one thing, one common trend I see upon all of y'all, is that y'all love to take forever to get back to me on changes. I don't know what it is. Not all of you guys. Some of y'all are great, and you guys get back to me the next day or 2 days after. But some of y'all just don't be texting me, yo. Like, y'all just like want to take 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days to get back to me on changes. And I'm like, cool, listen. I actually don't mind. But here's the thing. The reason why I am a little more concerned about that is because I'm still awaiting the other half of the payment for the project. And the longer you carry it on, the longer time it is for me to get paid for the other half. And like I said, no, it's not all about the money, but I can be using that money to reinvest back into the studio. I can put it towards other things that I could be actually doing, right? So you taking your sweet time and me on the line of like wondering, y'all, like, when's this going to end? Because I need to get paid for this project. I need to move on to the next project. Like, I still have a business to run. I still have projects to do, right? And I get it. Y'all want to take your time. And I don't mind. I actually don't mind. Like, the same thing with being late. I don't mind if you're late. I don't mind if you want to take, you know,
on a personal level, we don't care.
Yeah, on I don't care if you want to take that long to get back to me for changes, or if you show up late for a session. But be communicative, and if you're gonna get back to me late on changes, then I always say, that's what I always approach my artists. I'm like, hey, I know you're kind of, you know, still taking your time on the changes. Is it okay if you pay me the other half of the project? That way I can kind of do what I gotta do, you know, for the business and the studio, and then you can get back to me whenever. You can get back to me in a week, 2 weeks, and when you do, I'll make those changes for you, and we'll complete the song. Nine times out of 10, most artists are totally understanding. They get it because they know, like, there's money on the line and everything, and they'll send it over and they're like, cool, I'll get back to you changes. Awesome.
That's the ideal situation.
And so that's what happens most of the time, and people are usually cool with it, and that's usually when I feel like it's been carrying out. And usually I don't say that unless it's been like a week of like going over changes and revisions where I feel like the project's starting to carry out now, where I'm like, okay, hey, is it okay if you do this? And I swear to you, there's literally been a handful of projects where I've said, hey, can you pay me the other half of the deposit? And they do, and they never got back to me for changes. And they never came back. But the thing is, like, here's that. I'm not complaining because I got paid for it, but they just never came back. I was like, where did they go? Like, I still have like 2 or 3 projects, unfinished projects that I got paid for, that these people never got back to me. I think life's just caught up and they forgot. But it's so funny because I'm like,
bless them.
What the hell? And I was like, hey, I appreciate you. But that's the reason. Like, what if I never asked them to send me the money? Seriously, and they just forgot, and now I didn't get paid for it. That's why I say what I say. So just be courteous of the people you're working with and the timelines, and just understand that you got to be like relatively on time in terms of like getting back to people with revisions. And if you're not, that's cool. I don't mind. Take 3 weeks. But allow me to have the other half of the money so I can do what I got to do with it, and then you can take your sweet time.
Be reasonable.
Right, exactly. So that's all I say. And I had that conversation today with one of my artists, or yesterday, and people are usually cool with it. So Anyways, y'all, I think we're gonna wrap it up there. This has been an amazing episode. Noah, I appreciate you as always.
Hey man,
This is
good to be here.
Yeah, it's definitely nice to get back into the content game because for those of you that don't know, I actually used to do a lot of content stuff on TikTok. Ever before I ever doing anything music related, I was just posting videos about whatever. So to be able to sit down, have an amazing person like Noah sit down with me and to actually talk about music related stuff and our own experiences and stuff that may help you is truly fulfilling for me. I always enjoy doing this, and we're gonna be doing a lot more of this, posting a lot more of this. And so yeah, I think we should just wrap it up there. But no, let me know if you have any kind of final things you want to say before we kind of close it out here.
Yeah, just to sum everything up, be open, be honest, be communicative, and be reasonable. You know, everything can be explained under that single statement. Just be reasonable. You and I both, we really try to be fair with people.
Always.
And all these points that we're asking you guys to take a look at when we're in a project, we're already on top of that. We're already making sure that we are the best version of ourselves to work with you, because we want everything to be the best experience ever. So, and it usually is. Most of the time, it is. I know for you too, on your end, at least on my end, it goes well. Pretty much like at least 70% of the time. So that little slight, you know, there's always bad apples, there's always bad situations, but we can minimize those if we are open and more communicative, for sure.
Yeah, and just focus on building good relationships with people. That's it. Once you build good relationships with people, and there's that mutual respect, and you guys are on good terms and want to do great music,
We'll love you forever, man.
And that's it, seriously. And this will be a lifetime friendship and relationship that will carry out forever, for as long as we all love doing music and just continue to do big things. And so, yeah, guys, appreciate all y'all for listening. We love you guys. We truly are beyond humbled and grateful to be working with so many different people in music. And we're going to keep on doing more stuff. And hopefully we will see
and some
you
great
guys,
things coming, man.
Oh, yeah. A lot of big things, especially in 2024. So stay tuned, y'all. Once again, continue to do what you do. Continue to be the best version of yourself. Continue to make a lot of freaking bangers. And we're definitely looking forward to doing a lot more great work. And hopefully we can see you guys again for another episode. Other than that, appreciate y'all, and we'll see y'all soon.
See y'all next time.
Good shit, man.
That one was a little more deep, bro.
Hey guys, that was perfect. See you.